school board timer is up. Our timer is sitting right here. It will be timing. We're going to open with an opening statement. You have 1 minute to do that. And we'll start with Patterson. We'll go this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mary Patterson, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for having us tonight, and I want to thank my esteemed colleagues. I'm a resident of San Jose, and I live in the Morgan Hill Unified School District, and I've lived there for 16 years, and I have 2 children who attend the public schools in the Morgan Hill Unified School District, which I'm proud to say. I've spent many years volunteering and working at Los Paseos Elementary, at Jackson Academy, now at Martin Murphy Middle School, and also Sobrato High School now, all of which are really great schools, and I'm really glad to have my kids there, and they're thriving, and I see a lot of that, so that's really good. I have a long background in children's health and well-being, and I've spent most of my career working on behalf of kids in juvenile justice, foster care, education, and health. And that's where my passion lies. That's what I've spent most of my life paying attention to and working toward, and I hope to do that on the Morgan Hill Unified School Board. Thanks.
Hello everyone, it's great to be here today. My name is Angelica Diaz and I'm running for Area 5. I'm a parent of 2 children. I'm a lifelong resident of Morgan Hill, and I'm a product of the Morgan Hill School District. I have a sister who's currently enrolled in Britain Middle School. I value education. It provides the essential building blocks to succeed in life. I want to see our district succeed, and I want to see all of our students succeed. I want to ensure that every child has the opportunity to reach high education attainment. My focus areas are student achievement, parent engagement, and high quality education. I believe I have the experiences and skills that well qualify me for this role. I'm a director for a nonprofit organization. I'm a board trustee member to the Learning and Loving Education Center, and I'm a graduate of Leadership Morgan Hill. I also have experience as a health educator, teaching elementary and students and their parents in school settings. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Albert Beltran Jr. and I'm running for Trustee Area 6. I live in Los Paseos neighborhood with my wife, a public school teacher, and our 2 children, and I have a family full of lifelong graduates dating back to the 1960s. My master's degree is in education policy, and as a compliance and finance auditor of a school district, I understand the ins and outs of how to maximize resources at the classroom level and know the questions to ask to hold the district accountable on an ongoing basis. I served as a board member of Habitat for Humanity. I served as the chair of the County Committee on School District Organization. But more importantly, I have classroom experience as a substitute and as a student teacher. And I'm honored to have the support of my family and friends. And I would be honored to have your support as well and your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rick Padillo. I'm running for re-election for Trustee Area 6. I bring a unique perspective to the board as the only parent on the board. I've served our country, our community, and our school district for the past 28 years. And as the only board member with children in our district, I want to focus on student achievement, teacher salary, and class size reduction. I believe that with a solid educational foundation for children, we can grow children to be world changers. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Tom Arnett, and I am the recently elected trustee for Area 5 as of the June election we had just earlier this year. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of you for being here and for making Morgan Hill what it is. I grew up here, graduated from Live Oak, and then went away to school, started my career, traveled across the country doing work in education, and came back here and persuaded my wife that this is the community where we wanted to raise our kids. So why am I running for the school board? It's because I'm passionate about education. It started when I was at Live Oak, and as a student, studied under some great teachers that really ignited a passion for learning, and a passion for learning on how to learn and understand how people learn. Later on, when I started my career, I was a middle school math teacher in Kansas City. Went on to get an MBA at Carnegie Mellon University, And now I work at a national research institute where I travel across the country, talking with educators and policymakers, and studying innovative school programs. And I wanted to bring education that personalizes to students' needs to our district.
Great. Before we go on, this is new where we have different regions, and I just like some people in our audience may not be clear on those regions. And so, Mr. Padillo, you're running for Area 6, and
Correct.
Mr. Beltran also 6?
6, correct.
6, and okay, Mary Patterson also 6, and Angelica, you and Mr. Arnett are running for 5. Okay. If you need to look, you can go to the Morgan Hill School District, look at the map, see what district you are in if you're not sure. It's laid out there and it's pretty clear, but right now, so we actually have 2 people, or we have 2 districts that are being represented right now, the people are running for, and I think that's important you understand that. Thanks. I'm going to turn it over to a panelist.
Thank you. Good evening. And if you've been in at the forum and you've heard the previous candidates, you know what this next question is going to be. Which organizations contributed $500 or more to your campaign, and which organizations have endorsed you? And let's start with Mr. Arnett and work to your left.
So in terms of contributions over $500, I'd say the only individuals who have done that are my parents, after I twisted their arm. But I do have contributions from many people in the community, over 40 different individuals and families that have contributed to my campaign in amounts less than that. One thing to note, though, is that I also have support from the background experience I have. So as I mentioned earlier, I started my career as a middle school teacher, teaching middle school math in a dual language school and a language immersion academy in the Kansas City, Missouri School District, serving primarily low-income, minority, Hispanic, and African-American students, and really focused on how do we close the achievement gaps that those students often face. And so from that experience, there's an organization called Leadership for Educational Equity that has contributed to my campaign. And really their agenda is just, they value people who've been through that experience of working with those communities and focused on closing those achievement gaps. And they contribute to me in terms of wanting to help support people who are focused on those goals.
And how many organizations endorsed you?
Oh, endorsements? I don't have any organizational endorsements. I've mainly focused on reaching out to the community and talking to individuals.
Mr. Badillo.
I've received one endorsement from Grow Elect, which is a community-minded organization that has the blessing from supporters like Condoleezza Rice supporting diversity. And I am seeking endorsement from a number of entities, but I haven't received them yet.
And any contributions of $500 or more to your campaign?
That was the Grow Elect.
Thank you.
I am funding my campaign mostly with personal loan right now, some other contributions, but nothing over getting close to $500. In terms of endorsements, the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers has endorsed me, and I have the endorsement of Donna Rebush, current board member, as well as Ron Wolf, current board member, Claudia Rossi, former board member and current county board member.
Thank you. Ms. Diaz.
The organizations that have endorsed me are the South Bay Labor Council, the Morgan Hill Teachers Federation, and the South County Democratic Party. And contributions 500 or more I received from Pam Tracy.
Let's see, contributions 500 or more. Mom. That was one, 500. And the other one was from my best friend, whose name is Ed, and he's an attorney in San Francisco with a private practice. Endorsements. So, State Senator Jim Bell and I have done lots of work together over the years on behalf of foster youth and kids in the juvenile justice system, and State Senator Jim Bell's endorsed me. Similarly, Morgan Hill Mayor Steve Tate and I, over the past, I'd say 12 years, have done a lot of work when I was executive director of Project Cornerstone throughout the whole county. Steve and I came together with the goal of promoting developmental assets for kids in Morgan Hill. That was when he was on the city council. And so ever since then, Steve and I have worked closely together to bring the developmental asset framework to Morgan Hill. Morgan Hill Mayor Steve Tate has endorsed me. Aaron O'Brien, for affiliation purposes only, is the CEO of Community Solutions. And for those of you who don't know, Community Solutions is a fantastic mental health provider here in the South County, and they serve our schools as well as other entities. So she has also endorsed me, along with Chris Wilder, who runs our Valley Medical Center Foundation, and is a really good person.
Thank you. This question is for Ms. Diaz, Ms. Patterson, and Mr. Badil. It's no secret that there has been tension among members of the school board, leading to some contentious discussions and decision-making. How would you work to resolve that tension on the board and put students and families first? Starting with Ms. Diaz.
My intention is always to put students first and their families, our educators. And I think that I intend to move forward and work collaboratively with all of our board members. I have experience in attending leadership programs, and from the skills that I've obtained through my current work and other community service that have allowed me to identify how to work great in teams. And that's what I intend to do, is work collaboratively for the best interests of our students.
Thank you. Ms. Patterson?
I don't think anyone goes through this campaign thing without having the best interest of kids at heart. I really don't. And so when I look at board members in contention and disagreement and fracturing, I think, you know what? Everyone's speaking up and saying their piece because they believe deeply something about making this world a better place for kids. So my approach would be, let's all find what that something is, and let's work on that together. So that's kind of my bottom line. I'll also say that we've already started. I've met with all these individuals. I've talked to Albert, I've talked to Rick. We've had conversations about how we want to take this community forward. We share a lot of common experiences, and I would bring that to the board, regardless of who sits there with me.
Thank you. Mr. Badil?
Could you repeat the question, please?
It's no secret that there has been tension among members of the school board, leading to some contentious discussions and decision-making. How will you work to resolve that tension and put the students and families first?
Well, like we have all said, we're here for the kids. We just have a different way of going about it. I know we want to focus on the positives moving forward. As a current board member, we only are accountable to our constituents. The parents know what's best for their kids, and we as board members need to listen to the parents. I've got the parents, they know that I listen. They can always come to me, and I'll forward them to the superintendent. How do we move forward from this contention? It's challenging, and as long as we focus on positives, I think we can move forward.
Thank you. This next question is, charter schools were a major issue in the past elections and continue to be. Why do you believe parents who want to leave are unhappy with our public schools, and what can be done to address this issue?
That's a good question, because charter schools have been a contentious issue. And I want to start by saying charter schools are not part of my platform. I believe very much that our district schools have the capacity to meet the needs of our students. And that's what I want to work for on the board, is helping strengthen the district schools that we have so that people see them for the assets that they are. I think part of the challenge is that as I've gone out and talked to people, knocked on their doors, and met people that have sent their kids to charter schools or private schools, I think a big challenge is that people don't feel like the district is representing their needs or paying attention to their needs and their interests. So one thing I've been trying to do on the board is listen to parents. You know, I've had a number of people that have reached out to me, and rather than just taking their emails or taking their information, I try and set up meetings with them and talk to them personally, find out what is your interest, what is it that you want for your kids, so that I can make sure that the school district is representing the needs of the community.
Thank you. Next question is for Mr. Beltran. What criteria would you use to decide if you would support a program being presented to the school district by an outside interest group?
The criteria that I would use in terms of bringing a program, does it, well, first of all, if they're bringing some sort of research about how evidence that their program works, okay, well, let's dig into the numbers. What do those numbers mean? What is that data that they're presenting? What does that really show? Also rely on staff to evaluate that data compared to programs that the district is currently offering or the district might be planning to offer. So I think sort of unpacking what's sort of their message and really breaking it down. I think my work as an auditor, again, prepares me for that, digging deep. But again, the data is only one reference point, talking to the people who are presenting them. Looking at the background and understanding sort of the intent behind what this program is about. Because sometimes you do have very charismatic leaders who love a program and want it implemented and can talk in very, very influential ways. But when you really look at the program and you look at the finances and the management of it, you really have to judge: is this a good program compared to standards at the district, standards at the state level, and standards that we want as a community for our students and families.
Thank you. This next question is for Mrs. Diaz. What will be your top 3 objectives if elected to the school board, and how do you plan to achieve these objectives?
My top 3 objectives are what I mentioned earlier that are my focus areas, and that's student achievement, parent engagement, and high quality education. With student achievement, I've learned a lot through talking with our district staff, and I'm really excited about everything that I've learned. We understand that the data is only one tool to measure the true growth of student achievement, and there's many other things to consider as it relates to the curriculum and other progress for student achievement. And there's certain impacts or factors that could contribute to student achievement. The single factor being parent education level, followed by socioeconomic status, and English as a second language. And when we look at the data, the staff has done a really good job trying to compare apples to apples to see what that truly is showing us. But the data hasn't been able to show certain student populations with multiple factors that their student achievement is affected by. With parent engagement, it's very much part of our LCAP, and it's how to engage parents more, how to educate parents more to be involved with their student education, to understand exactly about the programs that are in place, about how can they contribute, how to develop programs for them to learn about it. And then high quality education begins with our workforce, our teachers, is how to provide ongoing professional development.
Thank you.
Ms. Patterson, how would you balance your decisions as a member of the board with the input of parents and teachers regarding curriculum and instruction?
I'm hopeful that the people that are in place in our district office have expertise and they're there for a reason. I would like, until I see otherwise, I would trust that expertise and the information that's being brought to me from the district, and if a recommendation is coming forward or an idea is coming forward, I want to respect that expertise. At the same time, over the 11 years that I've been a parent in the district, there are a lot of experts in our community. There are experts among parents and there are experts among the students. And so one thing that I do is I listen to students and I listen to parents. And so I've had a lot, hundreds and hundreds of conversations. I was the Home and School Club president at Los Paseos for at least a year, school site council chairperson, where I also talked to multiple parents and district officials and school officials, and we made some things happen. So all those parent organizations that we have, student organizations that we have, student leaders that have opinions and ideas themselves, I think all of those things need to be taken into consideration, along with the expertise that I presume our district office provides, and from what I've seen they do.
Mr. Padilla, what would you like to see the superintendent accomplish in the next year, and why do you think this is important?
Well, as a current board member, we don't have a personal influence. We work as a board in the majority of the board roles. So my personal goals would have to align with 4 other members for the superintendent. Your question is, what would I like to see the superintendent work on? I think now that we've got the SBAC scores and we've got data, we can get strategic and focus on how do we improve our school district as a whole.
Thank you.
Mr. Arnett, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the district, and how do you plan on addressing this challenge?
I think the biggest challenge is making sure that we are helping all of our students succeed. We have great schools that offer great programs. I mean, Sobrado is ranked in the top 4% of high schools in America. I graduated from Live Oak and had great access to great courses there, awesome programs like the band program. But I don't think all of those programs are reaching all of our students, and I think that's a big issue. It's making sure that all students are prepared to achieve and succeed in life, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge that school districts across the country are wrestling with, because a lot of it is related to poverty and the backgrounds that students come to before they get to the district. But I think those are challenges that we can't just ignore, and I think they're challenges that we can address. They're not easy solutions to those challenges, but I think they are challenges that we can address if we work together and come to have a unified, vision as a district and move forward with that vision. A big piece of that, I think, is making sure that we offer students personalized learning experiences. When I was a teacher, one of the things I struggled with was in any given class, I had, on one hand, a student who was bored because he was way ahead of the rest of the class and was looking for ways to entertain himself, and I had other students that were totally lost because they'd missed class, they'd missed school. And so, as a teacher, you struggle to meet all those needs. What led me to the work I do right now is seeing ways in which innovative programs and technologies can help teachers to better address all those individual needs, rather than just having to kind of teach to the middle and try and catch students here and there. So I think that's a big part of the solution, is empowering our teachers with innovative programs that allow them to address the needs of all their students, so that we can make sure all students are succeeding.
Thank you.
Mr. Beltran, identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and why it was important to you.
Well, I have to be honest with you. Excuse me. I have to be honest with you. I mean, because my students are really young, I've not been paying attention in terms of, following on the day-to-day, week-to-week decisions of the school board members of the school district. I mean, I'm learning more as time goes on. One of the biggest issues that obviously I think of the past year is the grade reconfiguration, and so that's from what I've read and what I've seen and talked to parents now, is that there was some disagreement, there was some misunderstandings or miscommunication, or just a different perspective on how our parents wanted their students to be educated and going through their school district. And so, looking forward now, everything that I've heard and seen directly from the principals and the teachers and the families and students coming out of those back to school night classrooms, it's just a bunch of smiles. And so, that's one issue. Obviously, the issue with the school site development is another one that I'm learning more about. In fact, I was just reading today about some of the discussions that have been happening in sort of the minutes. And so, I'm learning more and just hope to continue to learn more and serve the students of Oregon Unified.
Thank you.
Ms. Patterson, excuse me. Would you support a parcel tax or bond measure to build more public schools in the district? Why or why not?
I supported a bond measure. So Measure G was passed in 2012, facilities bond, and we didn't have a lot of education up in San Jose, and so I took it upon myself, with the superintendent's help, to go door to door and put up signs and help get that bond measure passed. That was for technology and infrastructure upgrades. In concert with the growth plans for Morgan Hill, if the city council and the city leaders and the school district leaders are telling us that population growth is such that we should build more facilities for our students and that our district is growing, then I would most certainly want to find a revenue to support those additional facilities. And if that came through a parcel tax or another way, after talking to constituents, after conversing with experts, absolutely, I would support that if that's what our district needed.
Mrs. Diaz, what ideas do you have to help the district attract more teachers for hard-to-fill positions such as math and science?
Well, what I know, it has been a challenge to attract teachers to our district. I've been at the board meetings where, the challenges and the issues by the teachers have been addressed. Ways that I think how to attract highly qualified and diverse is working together collaboratively with the board and the superintendent and administrative leadership to identify ways to incentivize and add some of the benefits to their current compensation. I understand that those are some challenges, and there are limitations because what the funding that we have to work with is the baseline funding that we get from each pupil or each student, I should say. But there are other ways to incentivize that by offering, perhaps looking into how we can offer loan repayment programs, affordable housing, first-time home buyers. You heard today from our city council and mayor about home buyer programs and how to include that into the benefit package. Other contributions, depending on our funding and through one-time grants that I know that our district receives, is how to contribute perhaps to 401k or other benefits that will attract and retain our teachers.
Thank you.
Mr. Badillo, the cost of legal fees in Morgan Hill has doubled in the last 3 years. What is the reason for this increase, and how can they be controlled?
That's a very good question. The district typically is seen as deep pockets. We don't control who sues us, but as principal, sometimes we have to stand our ground. When we get proactive in suing people is where we have an opportunity to control the spending on attorney fees. I think it's important that if the majority of the board so approves, then we move forward with litigation. It's better to work collaboratively and find solutions so that we don't get sued. And having an open door policy with our district, our superintendent, to engage with parents for items that need to be addressed. We've been doing great things. I haven't changed my position in 4 years. We're doing great things in our district, yet we have challenges. And if we're able to identify the challenges and work collaboratively with the parents and the community, then perhaps we won't have to engage in litigation that's costly.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Beltran. Although we encourage students to attend college, some find their lives will be better served on other paths, such as joining the military or vocational training. What would you do to encourage development of more career and technical education programs in our schools?
Well, I understand that sort of dilemma firsthand of, okay, the pressures of going to college, but the need to, or desire to, or skill set to work. I attended Deanza Community College, left school, and worked in an industry for a while, came back to school, and found what I wanted to do, found my path, as it were. And so I think as a school district, being open to partners, being open to programs and nonprofit partners, other government agency partners, allow them to come in, allow them to present their programs in conjunction with the school district is offering. And so, I think that we as a district have to be as supportive as we can and as open as we can to those other opportunities, because that one student who for whatever reason doesn't like college or doesn't see themselves in college right away, give them an opportunity in field X, give them a couple years life experience, and who knows, and they may go back and they may go back with a passion like I did and not just go back and get a college, a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, but go back and get a graduate degree. And come back to the community and use that experience and education to serve their community.
Thank you.
Mr. Arnett? How do you believe student achievement should be measured other than state test scores, or are state test scores sufficient?
I think state test scores are important, but not sufficient. I think we often fall between these two extremes. One extreme is, I'll use an analogy. If you went to your doctor and the doctor said, all I care about is your blood pressure. I don't care about anything else, just your blood pressure. I just read your blood pressure and that tells me if you're healthy. Would that be a concern, right? There's a lot more to a person's health than just their blood pressure. At the same time, it'd be a huge concern if you went to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, I don't need to take any measurements. You know, I'm an expert, just do what I tell you to do. I don't even need to examine you, just do what I do and everything's gonna be fine. And I think there's a tendency that the discussion about evaluating schools gets polarized between those extremes of test scores are everything, or we shouldn't even look at test scores. I think test scores are important, but they're also a flawed measure like any measure. I think other things that need to be included too, and we don't have good measures for this yet, but this is where I think not just our district, but our state, our nation needs to develop innovative programs for studying how do you measure students' engagement? How do you measure their mindsets to know, are they focused on, do they believe that they can succeed? Do they believe that they have opportunities? How do we measure their social and emotional well-being, their non-cognitive skills? I think all of those things are important. So I'd be focused on figuring out how do we measure things, even if the state or the government, the federal government doesn't require it. How do we get other measures beyond test scores that give us a good read on how our students are doing?
Thank you.
This is a question for all 5 candidates. We'll start with Mr. Arnett, to your left. What is your plan to represent San Jose students and families?
Well, my number one plan is that I've been out there knocking on those doors, getting to know those people. I found that that's the number one thing, is making sure that you're in touch with that community, meeting people face to face. We recently got an invite, all of us, to go up and meet with the people that are part of the Los Paseos Homeowners Association, and I'm planning to attend that. The other thing is just being responsive to people in the community. When they reach out to me, I make a point of having a conversation with someone if I can make that happen. Making sure that I try to understand their needs and where they're coming from.
Thank you, Mr. Deal.
So I had the opportunity to go out to the neighborhoods and talk to people, and somebody was asking through the door, who is it? I said, it's Rick Badillo. And they're all, who? I said, Rick Badillo. They're, what do you want? I said, well, I'm your school board trustee. And they opened the door and we got to talk for about 15 minutes. Turns out they're educators as well. With regards to the San Jose area, I'm not sure how they ended up in the Morgan Hill district, but as a district as a whole, we're not just representing the Los Paseos and the areas that we represent. We're representing the whole district. We make decisions that affect all the schools. So, so that we're clear, just because we're in a certain area doesn't mean we represent only those schools. Talking to the parents in San Jose, they have their unique needs. And as a trustee, I encourage parents to visit the district website, find our emails, and let us know what their concerns are so that we can bring them forward. We're here to listen to the parents. Without parent involvement, we really can't get a feel for the community. And San Jose, being the area that it's at, is still part of Morgan Hill, and we need to hear from those parents as well.
Thank you, Mr. Beltran.
Well, like I said, I live in the Los Paseos area. I drive up and down those speed bumps every single day to and from work. And so, I was there when the speed bumps went in, and, where I go for, weekend runs, with, weekend nightly walks with my family, just getting to know the neighborhood, going to the park at Martin Murphy and Los Paseos, getting to talk to folks around there. That's where I'm from. That's where I live right now. So, I think it's going to be pretty easy as long as we're making that effort to be accessible, share our contact information. If folks recognize you, stop, say hi, engage them in that conversation, as appropriate. And again, not just the parents, but also other folks in the community who have an interest in seeing, the children in that community, grow and succeed and thrive. And so I think I'm a unique candidate up here. Although I live in San Jose, I actually always have a long family history in Morgan Hill. My dad went to Live Oak when it was still at Britton High School. And cousins, a lot of my cousins have graduated Live Oak High School. So I have friends who live off Butterfield. So again, given sort of my personal and family history in both San Jose and Morgan Hill, I think it'll be fairly easy for me to feel a part of those communities.
Thank you. Ms. Diaz?
I'm currently knocking on doors, meeting families. I attended Martin Murphy Middle School, and I have also been invited by the school for Career Day, and that's how, I've been able to engage. If elected, I'll be accessible via email, Facebook, other social media, attending forums, back to school nights, other programs offered in that area. Many different ways to meet the community where they are. I think that the new trustee areas provide the opportunity for our board to reorganize and how we obtain the input, but I do agree that we're there for the entire district as a whole. I think it's how to be accessible and in what format to individuals that they can easily get to us.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson.
Thanks for the question. As a resident of San Jose, it's been a great interest of mine for many years to think about what's unique about that community and what can San Jose residents bring to our district. So 2 things. One is that it is more difficult, just with a slight distance, to get down to the district office. So we have an issue right now where parents are being required to be fingerprinted. And I've been hearing from a lot of San Jose parents that it's been difficult to get fingerprinted in order to volunteer on your kid's campus. So I was just talking to a friend of mine in the HR department at the district office about, for San Jose families, it's going to be very difficult to get down to the district office where the free fingerprinting is. So could we do something like have a mobile fingerprint come up to San Jose and be there one day out of the month for parents who are still eager to do that? So there are some issues that come up relative to geography. However, those are kind of problems that we can easily work out together, and I think it really has been a great bridge, San Jose to Morgan Hill, as the district is currently comprised, and there aren't a lot of differences between us, barely any at all, I'd say. It's just the geography that we need to work on, and somewhat of a different culture, easily bridged by just focusing on our kids and our students.
We have time for one more?
Sure.
All right. This is for all 5 candidates. If you could impact one thing as a board member, what would it be and why? And we'll start with Ms. Patterson.
One thing and why. As a board member, I believe that if all students aren't succeeding, then I'm not succeeding. If there are students in the schools over which I have jurisdiction who are struggling, failing, if there are parents who feel excluded, if there are parents who feel like they don't have a place at our schools, if there are kids that feel like they don't belong and they're not going to engage, then I'm going to hold myself accountable to that. I think that's probably the single most thing, is reaching every child, especially the ones that are struggling, don't feel engaged, don't feel welcome, and aren't participating.
Thank you. Ms. Diaz, and then we'll continue to your right.
An impact is that all students succeed, but that all students are able to identify that pathway to success, whether that is, I hope that all students go to college, and that is that pathway to success, but we know that some students fall off of that pathway. And I learned that through a county collaborative that I led. I led the Santa Clara County Workforce Collaborative. in partnership with many organizations. And it was a pathway for individuals who didn't make it to college. They had to work full time. And so we identified a course and targeted those individuals that are low wage earners, where they can get back on a pathway. They can get some kind of experience, certification that can go towards a full-time job, and that can count as 2-year experience. And I think that is very important to me, is that all students find that pathway to succeed and then go on to college.
Thank you. Mr. Beltran?
For me, it would be school climate. Part of our LCAP, I was reading, one of the data points said, according to 2014, the survey was taken, and 56% of 9th graders feel safe amongst their peers, which means that the other percentage does not feel safe, or may not feel as safe. And having 2 kids, essentially one of my 2 kids may not feel safe at school amongst their peers. So, I mean, I don't know what the details are behind that, and I would love to learn more about what went into the survey and sort of what the district thinks of that, and then how we go about sort of, like I said, unpacking that data point. But just when you see that number, around 50% feel safe, don't feel safe, that doesn't sit well with me. It's just in my gut, as a feeling, that doesn't feel right to me. And so, a couple experiences why that's important to me. I spent a couple months after Hurricane Katrina working in an education project, and in a community with nothing, every single parent, every single adult gave everything to make sure their kids felt safe and felt loved at every moment of the day. And in a community where we have comparatively everything, why does only 56% of 9th graders at one time feel safe amongst their peers? So I want to learn more about that.
Thank you. Mr. Verdillo?
Thank you. I think if I had an opportunity to make one impact for our district, part of our LCAP plan is parent involvement. Not a select few parents, but all parents. Currently the culture, there's a lot of parents who feel not included, or when they do try to speak up, they feel like they're not being heard. I think if I could make one impact, I'd like to have all parents have a voice, because everybody wants their kids to succeed. Nobody says, oh, I hope my kid fails. So that being said, now is an opportunity for parents to vote on who they want to represent them. I've been the Parents' Choice for 4 years, advocating for parents, for their children. So as a board member, I ask for your consideration and vote for the next 4 years.
Mr. Arnett?
So I think my answer to this is similar to others, but I think the ideas I have for addressing is different. I think what we need to do, one thing if I could impact it, would be making sure that all students leave school every day and graduate from high school feeling, being successful academically, feeling confident in their future and the opportunities they have for their lives. But how do we go about doing that? I think a big key is the relationships, making sure that students have relationships with adults, with teachers, counselors, administrators, other people in the community, volunteers, parents, that help them see and then get on and achieve that path to success with whatever their interest is, whatever they want to do with their lives. So how do we do that? I think it's really coming down to, we have constraints that we've just inherited with the way that education has been for a long time. But in my work, I see ways in which technology can help alleviate those constraints to allow for more of those relationships. A year ago, I visited a school in Salt Lake City School District where they transformed the educational model and made it so that students had much more time to engage with teachers one-on-one, because the teachers weren't busy trying to cover the same lectures every year. They were more involved in working with students. And it was fascinating to see that they didn't have the cliques and the bullies that you see at other schools, not because students didn't have those same issues, but because the relationships between the teachers and the students was so strong that the teachers knew about those issues and could support students before they became real issues. And so I want to make sure that we have the type of innovative programs that allow us to offer those kind of relationships to our students.
Thank you.
Great. 1 minute to finalize what they have to say. We'll start with Mr. Arnett.
So I want everyone here to think about back when you were in school. Think about a time when you were bored because you already understood most of what the teacher was saying. You were ready to move on, but the teacher had to cover for the rest of the class. Or think about a time when you were lost, when you missed a day of school because you were sick and came back and couldn't figure out what was going on because you'd missed that day. What I want to do is bring to our district programs working with our district staff. I don't presume to do their jobs for them. I think it's really about supporting them and helping them, helping us to come together with a vision for how do we develop innovative programs that address the students' individual learning needs. And not only address their individual learning needs, but prepare them for life in the 21st century. Our education system can't be good enough to just be as good as it's always been. We've got to go beyond what we've done in the past. And I want to help bring that vision to our district. So I hope you'll vote for me on November 8th. Thank you.
So I'm Rick Badillo, running for re-election. 4 years ago, the community voted for me to represent them. I'm asking for your vote again to support parents with who advocate for their kids. As a lifelong resident of Morgan Hill, except the time I was deployed in the military, it's important that we continue to listen to the parents who are the voters in our community. I'll continue to listen to the parents, advocate for them. Our kids need your vote for Rick Padillo. So I ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you to the AAW, to the Morgan Hill Times, Morgan Hill Life, and our timekeepers for working with us up here. And thank you to everybody for attending and letting us share our message with you. Well, I'm running because, and I'm honored to have the teacher support, the after parents, the people who know our students the best, have entrusted and supported and endorsed me, because I think that more often than not I would be able to make good decisions in support of the classroom, in support of the student and teaching experience in the classroom. I have, for the better part of 10 years, dedicated my career to education, whether that's policy level, at the federal level, policy at the local level, or in the classroom, and on committee work. And the issues that I want to focus on, one, school climate that I mentioned and talked about earlier before, and expanding the arts programs, and just protecting those classroom resources so that the teachers and students can do the jobs that they are meant to be doing.
I want to say thank you to AAUW, Morgan Hill Times, Morgan Hill Live, our city. I had positive experience in our school districts, attending P.A. Walsh, El Toro, Martin Murphy, and Live Oak, graduating in 2002. And I want that for all students. I had caring teachers. I had teachers who really guided me, who took me under their wing to succeed in school, and I remember that. I still see them around, and it's great to see that. I want that for all students, for those positive experiences. I see the teachers, I see they care, and that's what I want to see is a success for all students. I respectfully ask for your vote for Angelica Diaz for Area 5, and I thank you for being here today.
Once again, Mary Patterson is my name, and I think for me, classroom instruction is one of those things that can really turn things around. And as you just heard, one of my main priorities, and one of the things that keeps me up at night is the fact that we have kids that fail, and we have kids that leave, and we have families that are disappointed, and we have students that feel excluded. And So when I think about that and I think about great teachers, a couple of things that I really want to focus on are teacher recruitment and retention, and the question to Ms. Diaz about how do we keep our science teachers here. We have a fabulous teacher, Travis Papa, who teaches science at Serrato High School, and he came up to Mr. Batondo last week at an event and said, all my friends are at Google making 3 times what I make, and I don't know how I'm going to raise a family here. I love Morgan Hill and I love my school, but I don't think I can stay. And I know he's making a difference in the lives of kids, and he's making a difference in the lives of a lot of different kids. So I want to be able to keep Travis Papa in our district, and I hope that you'll offer me your vote so I can get to work and do that.
Thank you very much. Give him a big hand, please.